Authentic genius and live the life you desire.
You are now listening to
Join Dr. Rademaker for an enlightened conversation about our brain intelligence, our body intelligence, and our energy intelligence. And now, here's your host, Dr. Bart Rademaker.
Well, I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker, and this is Prescription for Your Transformation. Real people, real conversations, and real success. And today is going to be a lot of fun. And actually, it's always a lot of fun as far as I'm concerned, because I just love what I do. But isn't that what games are all about? You know, we engage in games in such a way that we just get enlightened, it's fun, it's entertaining, but even more importantly, it has a deep impact on our soul. When you get engaged with something that's terrifically fun, and it's that spiritual connection that we get with something that really then can teach us as well. And so, what about the game of life? I mean, have you ever thought of life as a game? Because in all games, there are rules. And so the question is, what game of life are you playing, and how well are you playing this? And actually, I borrowed that sort of phraseology or that context from an incredible guy, philosopher and coach, Brian Johnson. So I want to give him credit for naming it that way. But that's really what this is all about, the game of life and how well we play and understanding those rules. But here's the thing. In every game, there's a challenge. And we have to ask ourselves, and this is back from, I think, Seneca, that says, you know, it's not so much that we think that things are difficult or that we fear that things are difficult. Perhaps we don't fear that they're difficult enough, because it's those dragons, those challenges in life that really allow us to ascend that ladder of evolution, if you will, our personal evolution, so that we can become that best versions of ourselves. So I'm incredibly excited by introducing this amazing guy that I've known for quite some time. And I'm enthralled totally by his story, which he's going to share with us today about his journey. It's an incredible journey that he's gone through. And he's transformed all of his own hero journey to bring back to you an amazing gift. And it's all in a game. And it's all in the game of life. And I'm going to allow him to share with you how you can be part of this game and become that best version of yourself. Brody, thank you so much for joining me today.
Fantastic. Great intro, Bart. It's a total honor to be here. I'm excited to be here on your show. Very excited about the mission that I get to live and bring and create as well. So my name is Brody Whitney. I'm founder and CEO of Facing Dragons. If you want to check it out online, it's facingdragons.com. And we're building a deeply gamified self-discovery and self-care app, essentially as close to a game as we can build, that engages you in your real life, with your real life challenges, helping you overcome your real life challenges and develop just a sense of purpose and a positive outlook on yourself and your life through gaming. I love the quote that you shared from Seneca, fearing that life isn't challenging enough, because a lot of us go through our life trying to avoid the challenges and the problems and the stress. Life gives us these things. We're all very aware of that. And we think, there's a lot of people who get to a point in their life where they're trying to make something happen. They're trying to make more money or find a relationship or overcome some of the drama and find peace in the relationship, whatever challenge we're looking at. Maybe they wanted a break from work, and then all of a sudden they're in COVID and they're like, I didn't want this much of a break, But life gives us these challenges. And I think if you can have that mindset of like, bring it on, life, then you also are aware that all of these challenges are dragons. Dragons are metaphors for the challenges that life brings us and gives to us. I think that's when, we have that mindset of growth, and we realize that life is never going to give us more than we can handle. And the bigger the challenge, always the bigger the opportunity for our growth, to unlock our gifts, and to realize our own personal greatness. You mentioned this hero's journey as well. The Facing Dragons is a game that takes you through not just a sort of taking a character through a game and trying to get a high score and get all the gold. It's like you are the hero in this journey. You are the character in this game in Facing Dragons. So we call it mixed reality, where your phone becomes the portal to the dragon world, where you get a chance to interact with 8 dragons. These 8 dragons represent the 8 key areas of life. And you're looking at, okay, how fulfilled are you in these areas? And these dragons are each going to give you quests and challenges and teachings to help you level up in these 8 key areas of life. In terms of the hero's journey, there's about 12 stages to the hero's journey. And one thing I do in my work as a coach is and in live Facing Dragons events that I've done, is I'll teach people the hero's journey format, and then I'll help them identify where they're actually at on their own hero's journey. And at least 80% of the time, people will identify that they're at stage 4, which is trials, where it's starting to get difficult, and they think it's a problem. We are, until we know that life's challenges are here for us and to help us grow and help us realize our vision for who we can become and what we're here to and what we want to do, then we try to avoid the challenges and we turn away from them. When people really understand the hero's journey and that on the other side of these challenges are our greatest gifts, and often surprising, amazing gifts, whether it's an ability that we didn't know we had, or finding love, or getting a job that you thought was difficult to impossible, starting your own business, whatever it is, it's on the other side of fear and challenge. And so when people understand the hero's journey, and they find themselves at this 4th stage of trials, it frees them. I constantly see the light go on for people where they're like, oh my gosh, I'm at the trials stage where it hasn't even gotten really hard yet. And I've thought that it's not working. Like life's not working because it's got challenging. Then they realize that actually it's working perfectly and life's giving them that exact challenge to grow, to achieve what they want to achieve, whether that's to be a better version of themselves or achieve a specific goal. So Facing Dragons, maybe I could share the story of sort of...
Yes, do that. But before you go into your story, I just want to share a couple of things, because my light bulb was going off and off and off, or on and on and on all this time as you're talking, and putting it in context when you think about it. Some of the most successful people in the world, they've had the most trying times as well, and it's just that intense challenge, obstacles, whatever that is, that they've overcome them and been the successes that they have. And there's a couple of things I want to share for those listening, is that the Greeks talked about us being teleological, which means we're goal oriented, and we become more if we are goal oriented. And so the key here is that we feel good about ourselves when we achieve our goals. But the challenge I think most people have in society is that they're being told that achievement is how should I put it, is something that should happen instantly. And so that you don't have to put the work in, and if you don't achieve it instantly, then you're stupid, then you're not good enough, then whatever that is. And the truth is very different. Facing your dragons, facing the challenges over a period of your life, long time, that's when you get all the successes. And I think something that holds people back so much in our society is because they think that success needs to happen like this, otherwise you're not worthy. And so final thing for those listening in, because I think this is so important for us to know, is that it behooves us to face those dragons. It behooves us to find the challenges, because there's 10 times, you know this because we learned the same things, there's 10 to 20 times more within us. And unless we stress it, unless we challenge it, we'll never get there. So please continue with your part. I love what you're going to share with us.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, you got talking about success, and I just, that's a whole other topic I'm very fascinated with, where it's hard. I got to steer back. So Facing Dragons. So Facing Dragons is a mixed reality game. It's a self-discovery quest for you in your real life, where you're using this technology, this phone that's in your hand, in your pocket all the time, as a tool to enhance and improve your self-esteem, your sense of purpose, and to overcome your real life challenges. The idea for Facing Dragons was born out of being a parent with kids who are into video games. And I'll back up a little farther. So I grew up with an Atari 2600 when I was a kid, like those little cartridges you put in with, like Pong, right? Very basic graphics. And I loved games. I loved the video games. Gaming wasn't a thing when I was a kid like it is now. I think there's over 3 billion gamers on the planet right now, out of 8 billion people. And there's millions and millions of full-time gamers. This is what they do. So gaming has become a reality for a lot of people. And as a parent, that's a very common challenge, is my kids spending all this time on these games. And parents really struggle with that. And at the time, my youngest son was, I think, 8 years old. And I walked into his room, very common experience. Most parents can relate. He'd been playing games for hours. I thought he'd got off, a few hours ago. Turns out, no, he's still playing, just glued to the screen, right? And instead of getting frustrated, I got curious. As a coach, you and I were both coaches, Bart. We know the power of curiosity. And so instead of getting frustrated, I thought, maybe there's an opportunity here. And I thought, what is it about these games that's so engaging? And I thought, I had a new thought in that moment. And what if we could create a game that engaged people in their life at this level? That was the beginning of Facing Dragons. And I started learning about games. I mean, I turned off from games when I was about 15 years old. It was a hot summer day in the middle of summer holidays. And all my friends and I were packed into this living room, glued to the screen, playing video games. And I thought, it's so nice out. And I turned to everyone, I said, hey, you guys want to go out and play? It's pretty nice. And they were all just in that game zone. So that was a turning point for me, where I sort of got I turned off from games. And this experience I had with my son was turning back onto games. And I realized I started to learn about the psychology and the mechanics of what makes games so engaging. And I realized, wow, there's really something here. And again, what if we could create a game that engaged people in their real life at this level? So that's been the mission. And we started development in March 2019. And at the end of this month, it's functional right now, but we're just putting on finishing touches. We'll have a playable prototype of the game. And the game is also linked to a support hub. So part of our mission is to get people, our players, whatever level of support they need in terms of mental health and achieving their goals, coaching and counseling support. So you could go through the game, you could play solo, just do it all on your own, interact with the dragons and do these quests and challenges and up level in your life. But maybe you need a little bit more support. There you go, there's the website. Maybe you need a little bit more support. Maybe you're struggling with depression. Maybe maybe you're working a job you hate, and you have this idea of you want to start your own business or find work that you love, but you don't know what that career shift is going to be. Maybe you just, came out of university or college and you have a big debt, and you need to find what's my purpose? Like, what am I going to do? Not just work that will help me pay off my debt, but work that's meaningful for me. So you can see that Bart's going through the Facing Dragons website. Super proud of the team and what we are putting together. And yeah, so you can see there, it's distracting. I mean, it's great to see. You can see that there's a picture of Tory Lanez there. So one of the things we've been doing is, when I was young, trying to find my purpose in my own life, one of the things I really struggled with was, where are the people who are going to inspire me? I knew I needed some people who were just outside the box and who I really could be inspired with. And I, at the time of my life, very skeptical, in my early 20s, and very just in a skeptical, black and white, judgmental, and trying to find the answer to this big question: what's my purpose? And I felt there was a real lack of people I could turn to who authentically could be good role models for me. So within the game, we've created what's called Hall of Heroes. So there's all these different islands you can travel to in the game. Essentially, your phone is the portal to the dragon world, Dracos. Any great game has a great story, right? And great characters. And so your phone allows you to go into the world of the dragons and visit these islands. And one of them is called Hall of Heroes. So you saw Tory Lanez on the website. Right now, we've got 6 celebrity role models or heroes who share their real life story in a graphic novel style animation. And then at the end of the animation, which you unlock in the game, they give you a quest to go out and take on in your real life. So, Tory Lanez, his journey has been around home and overcoming poverty. We have Steph Jevons, who was the first woman to circumnavigate the globe on her motorcycle, all 8 continents.
Wow.
And she overcame an addiction to drugs and just went on this incredible journey and started her own business and mission. So there's many sort of key parts to this to support our players to, I guess, in a sense, do well on their own hero's journey. Find out what their real, true purpose is in their hero's journey. What do you really want out of life? And give them the tools, the training, and the support and the quests to help them unlock their own potential and go through these challenges that show up, these dragons that show up that are scary sometimes. Like, people right now, we look at real life challenges and the big dragons that we faced. We have COVID. It's very in our face. I'm in 2-week quarantine right now. I just came back into my country, Canada. And when you come back into the country, you have to isolate yourself for 2 weeks. I just saw my son for the first time in 4.5 months and I couldn't hug him. I'm downstairs in my parents' basement for 2 weeks. Like, this is a real challenge. And I'm lucky. There's people right now who are locked up in their homes with abusive partners or locked up alone and afraid of, this virus and running out of money. And just, the dragons are here. So if we can reframe them as, like we talked about before this interview, as gatekeepers to our gifts, our growth, and our greatness, that they're here to help us grow, then we become, instead of being that person who's trying to avoid the problems and reacting in fear in our life, we become that hero. And we can, we can create miracles.
And that's what it's about, and I think the key here too, Brody, for people to appreciate. And I think this is a big challenge that so many have, is that we're wired to think that that certain standards of living are normal, or it's the way it's supposed to be, and this whole about being the same or compete against the Joneses, and the truth is that I think so many people feel so alone, so disconnected in this world where connection hasn't been easier than it is easier than any other time. I'm sorry, easier than any other time in the world. But it seems that we're so much more disconnected and so much more alone. And having the ability to actually connect, with real-time heroes, and being able to relate to the differences. I look at my own life and I look at my heroes over time and start taking on some of their characteristics, because I recognize how valuable those were for their success, so that I can incorporate them in my life. And I think that's something that your game, by gamifying this, is a way to really engage all parts of us. It's one thing to, and this too, right? Because we have one of the same teachers who talks about this. It's the intellectual starts. The intellectual and the emotional, and then the physical. And so if you're playing a game, you're engaging all parts of your intelligence, and that's awesome. So I have a question for you, and give us an example of a quest that
Sure.
that's out there that people do, and I'm curious to know what setup you have for actually having gamers interacting with each other.
Yeah, perfect. So like I said, you can do the quest solo. You can do it multiplayer once you get to a certain level in the game with experience and gold. Then you can unlock the multiplayer, and also, like I said too, you can have a coach or a counselor supporting you on your quest through the support hub, and that is a very powerful. Let me just talk a moment for that about that, because that's one of the challenges that coaches and counselors face is the difficulty in connecting and understanding young people right now in this world. And this is not just theory. We've done academic research and gone out and found out, like, specifically school guidance counselors, just mental health counselors and coaches are struggling to engage and stay connected with their young clients. And so this is who we're building this game for. There will be much more than young people playing the game because it's designed to support you through big transitions in life and your goals. But we wanted to build something that that young people could relate to. And so you're going to be able to go through this on your own or with other players, and also to have a coach supporting you. You'll be able to create custom quests with your coach, and they'll see how you're doing. They'll be able to support you in a really effective way. Another aspect of the game is we're gamifying personality tests. So instead of just answering a quiz, you're actually playing the game, and the game is helping you understand, what do you value? What's important to you? What are your personal behavioral styles? Like, what type of leader are you? What's your love language? Like, they're going to be gamified quests that help you understand yourself, and also in turn help whoever's supporting you or in your pod as a multiplayer experience understand what motivates you, what kind of leader you are.
Love it.
And so like I said, it's a self-discovery and self-care quest. I forgot the question.
So can you give us an example of a particular quest that you get people to do?
Yeah, perfect. Sure. So there's 8 dragons. They represent the 8 key areas of life. A few examples of those would be mission, like the meaningful work that you're here to do, your purpose, physical health. So Vitalia is the health dragon. Helios is the mission dragon. Amora is the love dragon. So maybe you're looking at these 8 key areas of your life, and you're looking at how fulfilled am I in each of these areas. And then these dragons are helping you increase fulfillment in these areas through quests. The main dragon that we're leading with, like the tagline of Facing Dragons is unlock your purpose. For me as a young adult, this was an incredibly daunting question. What's the purpose of my life? Like, why am I here? Who am I really, and why am I here? And so that's the driving force or mission or focus behind this game. I think it's the best thing we can offer people, is because once someone understands their true purpose, that becomes, an incredible tool for them when facing challenges, or just a filter to, like, maybe life looks like this crazy up and down roller coaster without purpose. And once you understand why you're here and what's important to you, it can become a ride. So we're leading with Helios, the mission dragon, and his whole purpose is to help you find your purpose. So there are quests and challenges that you take on in the game where you go out into your real life and you complete them. A random act of kindness could be a very simple example of this, where it's like, okay, a lot of people don't know the incredible impact that doing random acts of kindness can have on oneself, your sense of empowerment, self-esteem, just value, contribution, and satisfaction. So that would be an example of one. A lot of the quests are going to be sort of self-discovery quests. So for example, one of the first quests that Helios will give you is the question around finding your purpose. And what I've found, and what I've incorporated into this game, is that there's a series of purpose codes, ways to understand and unlock your purpose. And one of them is called present moment purpose. People are trying to find their purpose like it's something grand and elusive and maybe in the future. And I think what's the purpose of my life is a very important question to explore, but it's a big question. So present moment purpose is just very simple. Okay, what's the purpose you're living right now? One of the reasons why people are often searching for their purpose is they don't like the purpose that they have. It's like, it's not good enough. Kind of what you're talking about with success. We compare ourselves to all these luxury brands out there. I should be on a yacht, or I should be traveling. No, I'm at home on quarantine in my parents' basement, right? It's like real life. So I think it's very powerful for someone to actually explore, okay, what's the purpose that I'm living right now? If I look at my life now and who I'm being and what motivates me and my why, what is it right now? And so that's an example sort of to unlock, like, get honest, tell the truth.
You know what I love about that, and as I'm thinking, I mean, this is absolutely brilliant, and I can only see this, expanding massively and becoming a worldwide game very, very quickly. Because I was writing some notes as you were talking, because one thing that I've recognized when people are gaming is they get caught up in this virtual world, and they're so connected with that virtual world, they actually become sort of disconnected with the real world. But it's kind of like an escape for many people, because in that space, they feel really empowered. And then I started thinking, well, hang on a second. Why not find that success? So flip it around. Find that, and I know this is what you guys have thought, is you find the success in the virtual world as a practicing ground to be successful in the real world. So you get to try out things. You get to make mistakes, and nobody's going to be laughing at you or criticizing you or, judging you with your mistakes. And then you find that comfort level, whatever that quest is, so that you can now go to the real world very comfortably, knowing how to show up, and then execute it at a level that would have taken months perhaps of coaching to get you there, and you just did that with a quest. And I just want to say two things. I mean, you take super athletes. What do they do all the time? They practice in their head. They practice the moves. You look at these downhill skiers, and it says, how do you know that you win? That you're going to win or get the gold medal? I do it in my head first. I know that I'm going to win. I know what I'm going to do. And this is exactly what that is. That's brilliant, Brody.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a couple other examples of quests. So there's 3 levels of quests in Facing Dragons. One of our biggest challenges is getting people to not just do a quest on their phone, but actually put the phone down and go and complete the quest. And so we decided, okay, there's 3 levels of quest. One is basic, one is heroic, and one is mythic. Basic is very simple, and it's a very important one. It's what would you do in this situation? So let's say you mentioned connection a few times. So conic is the social dragon. Conic is all about the important relationships in your life, friends and family, your social connections in life. So conic is going to give you quests that help you not just feel, but build connection in your real life. So an example of a quest with conic would be, who are 3 people who are important to you, who you haven't, reached out to in a while. And so a basic quest would be, if you were going to contact these people, who would you contact? That's it. Like, one thing about games is you win over and over, like quick wins, constant quick wins. And so to take someone from a quest to go out in your real life to do it is a very big, massive leap in a game. And so basic is just exploring what you would do. Then you have the option. Do you actually want to do it? And there's game mechanics involved to encourage you to go and do it, right? You're going to be able to unlock more heroes, for example. You're going to be able to unlock the multiplayer level. You'll get the next quest from the other dragon, whatever it is. But just identifying what you would do is a win. Then you can go to heroic, and you could contact these 3 people. And maybe mythic. Mythic is the larger scale quest, where this is oftentimes in the game where you're going to need to be part of a pod, a multiplayer, where you'll need some support and accountability and other people to cheer you on and hold you accountable to what you say you're going to do. And so maybe a mythic level quest of this would be, it could be, calling each of these people and getting them to reach out to 3 people that they haven't connected with in a while. It's a bigger level, So
wow,
there's a few examples right there.
I love it. I think we could talk about all this all night. I know there's 2 other things that we want to cover, and so share with us your journey. I know you began a little bit earlier on, but really eager. And it's a very profound journey, I know, because you and I you've actually shared some things with me, and so tell us what you want. What do you want to share?
I mean, we all have this experience. It's our human experience and this incredible journey on Earth, and a lot of us, we take it for granted. Just the fact that we can be here breathing this air, and just miracles like being able to talk. Being able to connect and do this live broadcast. I mean, think of all the things that had to come together from a very basic, raw standpoint on reality to be here. I mean, it's fascinating to me. And so I see outside the box, and so I think outside the box, and I see what's possible. And for me, my journey is a bigger hero's journey of, I'll share my purpose statement.
Yeah.
Actually, because that will sort of wrap it up. My purpose statement is to grow. All life needs to do one thing, and that's grow. To serve, to be myself, and to achieve my vision and enjoy and experience my full potential. And that's the goal here. It's like, I'm here to become who I already am, in a sense. You know, at our core, we're all enlightened, full potential beings, and then we're into this game called life. We don't need facing dragons to be in the game of life. We're all in it. It's just like people forgot, you know? And so this is the story. The greatest story of our life is the hero's journey. Any story, any great story, our favorite movies, our favorite books, is all the same story. It's the hero's journey. So this is just an opportunity to tap back into this reality that we're on this planet that's spinning 1,000 miles an hour, circumnavigating the sun at 64,000 miles an hour, and in a galaxy that's moving through time and space at 1.3 million miles an hour. Like, there's a lot more going on than just what's next, what am I going to watch on Netflix. So the purpose of me sharing all that is just to give people a bit of a wake up, because you are on a journey of your own realization, and you could put it off, but that will just lead to regret, or you can fully just embrace it and start to see that, wow, life gave me these challenges to help me grow. I know what I want, I'm going to go for it. And that's what the game is made for. For me, helping people unlock their purpose is very personally meaningful. So when I was a young adult, I'd say 19 to 22 were some of the most difficult years of my life, specifically 22, when those questions, who am I really and why am I here, they spun in my head, and they drove me away from society up into the wilderness. I was living in a teepee. Just, you know, one, I wanted to get back to nature because I found it very healing. The other part of it was I couldn't function in society anymore. I just became so sensitive, and these questions became more and more louder and louder in my head, till it came to a point where I stumbled out into the wilderness one morning naked, and I actually collapsed and blacked out. It was these questions, like, who are you really and why are you really here? And I couldn't answer them. And I don't know how long I blacked out for, but at a certain point, I woke up, and this energy came up from the earth, and it filled my body. It was kind of like a breath of fresh air. And I sort of shook myself off, and I thought, I think I'm feeling a bit better. Like, I think I can get up. And longer story short is it led me to this realization that I've been waiting all this time for people to inspire me. I needed to start being the change that I want to see in the world. And I felt all these physically felt these new neural connections happening in my brain. And then the other one was, I don't know how I thought, but a lot of people think that what you believe is true. I thought that all of my life up until that moment. And then I realized that, wait a second, there's other people on this planet who believe the opposite. And they think it's true. What's true? And all of a sudden, just the whole foundation, all my certainty was gone. And I needed to rediscover my truth. And part of that was, what am I here for? And so that was a really big and very confusing journey for me. I would say I had a schizophrenic experience. And I did go crazy. And I was able to come through that by just surrender. I fully surrendered to it. And if I can make that journey easier for people and help people find their purpose and understand who they really are, you know, then it's satisfying for me. I just led 40 people through a virtual online quest called the Purpose Quest, where we're just testing out new quests and taking people through this journey. And at the end, 40 people shared their purpose, you know, and so I've been able to simplify that process and decode it down to these purpose codes And I just find, I think the more people who are living their purpose, the better world we can create. And I think that's the bigger journey here. We're in this COVID reality right now where a lot has changed. And to me, it's a reset. To me, it's like, okay, the train was headed right for the wall, There were no shortage of end of world theories. And I think, now we've had a chance, and we're in a chance of resetting, realigning, rediscovering what's important to us and how we want to move forward. So I think, Facing Dragons comes at a very important time where people need virtual support, and games will empower the next generation of young leaders and leaders across the board. Mobile games right now are a $70 billion market, increasing at 25.5% year over year. Wow. That's huge growth. Games aren't going away, so let's harness this tool that can help us. Like you said, in a game, you don't have the same level of risk involved. You can try stuff out and fail. This Facing Dragons is built so I'll share something important about the game. Anyone who makes it to the multiplayer level,
right,
will have by that point done their basic leadership training in the game. They'll gain real leadership skills, and one of the styles of leadership that you and I, Bart, are very familiar with is coaching leadership. So by the time someone gets to multiplayer level, they'll have a basic coach training, so they can support the other players in a very positive and powerful way. One of the things that will take away some of the risk in Facing Dragons is that it will be built around a safe and courageous space that's focused on growth. So no one's going to last very long in the community, if they're trolling or cutting people down. It's going to be a very supportive platform. Yeah.
And we need more of that, and clearly any of this criticism that people have for others or judgment is really their own pain that they don't know how to express. And finding that positive generative environment that you're creating, it allows people to be witnessed, to be heard, and gives them other choices. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I can't wait to see this really explode, because you're right. Awesome. I mean, we're in a game world, and particularly now in COVID, where all these real games aren't out there, and so many games are out there that really aren't really helping. I mean, all this violence and all these kinds of things. I think the reason that they're so engaging is because people are so angry, they're frustrated, there's rage inside of us, and which is a natural phenomenon in all humans, by the way. Talk to the great philosophers and healers in the world, and a lot of our illnesses is based on our anger and our rage. It's all suppressed. But it's because when we are wired in a certain way to believe, as you said, that certain things are true, and then our awareness says, well, no, hang on a second, but you're afraid to take that leap because then you're going to be rejected, and that's one of our biggest fears. So, I mean, yeah.
It's part of the hero's journey.
Yeah, but everybody's going to go schizo with that because it's this or that. What do you decide? So I'm so grateful that you've come to that deep insight that then can help others come to that place and experiment, try, and within that space of security, feel comfortable that you can take these chances, which really they're not. I mean, if we're honest, but we feel that they are, so that we can practice them, bring them to the real world, and be much better human beings. Again, I didn't really appreciate the brilliance that you and your team have put together until today.
Awesome. I just want to share, I could share story after story of my own journey. I I see this game helping a lot of people. You know, right now, in terms of other people and their story and their journey, the support that's out there for young people to find their purpose is very limited. There's a lot of skepticism towards, you know, finding a coach who's genuinely going to help and serve, or a counselor that can understand you and you can connect with. And so mental health and virtual support is becoming more and more important.
Yep.
And right now in Canada, this is a close family member who had this experience recently, who's having a very difficult time with mental health, reached out, phoned the mental health line, like the emergency mental health line, and talked to a person, and eventually asked them, it wasn't helpful at all. And they eventually asked the person who was there to support, do you have any experience with mental health? And the person said, no. The message was, if you have an emergency, call 911. If you don't have an emergency, you have to deal with this on your own. I'm here to talk, but I don't have any experience in this. This is the mental health support line. That's not good enough. That's not going to do. When we look at the mental health stats, depression, anxiety, suicide, these are all increasing fairly dramatically and even spiking in the last 3 to 4 years. So,
well, particularly now with COVID, I mean, you know, the whole idea of everybody being so locked in is causing major mental issues. And, you know, everybody's kind of afraid to talk about mental health and that kind of stuff. Look, I mean, you know, we got our body health, we got our mental health. I mean, it's just part of that human experience. And until we really, you know, address it, nothing's going to change. But what you're doing, you're actually making it a lot easier. And interesting enough, a lot of that rebalancing, recalibrating that we can do in our mind, it's happening all unconsciously because of your game.
Yeah. I mean, I take quests every day. You know, it's just another way of looking at, there's things you can do that will help you feel better about yourself, your life, and improve.
Yeah.
You know, we talk mental health, it's your mind, the health of your mind. Like, that's, if our mind is not healthy, if we have negative thoughts all day, if we're focused on how things aren't going to work, if we don't believe in ourselves, we don't think we're enough, life is going to reflect that back to us. So I do quests every day. You know, I've got, well, before this whole COVID thing, I was in the gym. Gym shut down. How am I going to keep working out? I got a little outdoor gym here now, right? You make it work. I got into yoga. I fell in love with yoga, you know, with doing the online Beachbody. It became a daily quest. Call it a quest. I'm on day 44 of A Course in Miracles.
Awesome.
Every day. It's a new little exploration. I'm doing Napoleon Hill's 52, A Year of Growing Rich, 52 two-page lessons on increasing your wealth. It's like, life is rich with opportunities for growth. And, you know, like I said, all life shares one thing in common. And that is very basic. It's growth. And if we're not growing, then we're not going to feel fulfilled in our life, because we're not meeting that most fundamental need that we all share. So,
you know,
that's what we're doing.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say, you know, we're in this stage, for anyone who's curious, at the end of this month, which is May 2020, we'll have a playable prototype of the game and the support hub that we're pitching to investors. This is our focus right now, is to bring on the right investors to help us build the full game, which will launch in beginning of early 2021. And so anyone who's interested in being part of this and playing the game, you can take your first quest right now at facingdragons.com. It's the Life Wheel quest. And then by taking that quest, you'll be notified when the game is out. And so, you know, if you want to be part of this and you're interested, or if you're an investor who's curious, reach out. My email is Brody, BRODIE, at facingdragons.com. And we're in sort of, early stages of this game, and we're very excited about this next year ahead and launching this to the world.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely amazing, and you know, I've heard about your concept of facing dragons, and it's such a beautiful perspective, and then to relate it to, it's a reminder. I mean, as you said earlier on, I mean, we take too many things for granted. It's a reminder of those things that we need to pay attention to. And unless you have someone or something that constantly reminds you to address it, to pay attention to it, to be aware of it, you're not going to do it. I mean, life is a whirlwind of activity, if you will, and things are happening in demands and everything else. And unless you have a system, whether you're planning it yourself or whether you engage in a game, which I think is brilliant. Again, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I think you guys are going to be leaders in this field, because this is something that we really need. We really need a platform that not only is the guide to what are the things that we need to pay attention to, but you're making it fun, you're making it easy, because too often, the thinking in our heads to address the complicated things in life, they're just too difficult. I remember when I was back in school, I was reading Greek philosophy, and I'm more of that surgeon kind of type. I go right to it, and this was just way too complicated. I mean, it was just too hard to go through. And so I had no clue that whilst I was in school, there was this big fellow called Tony Robbins doing all sorts of crazy personal development stuff that really made a difference. And had I known that then, I would have learned so much. I would have embraced it right away, because like you, I'm that explorer. I ask questions, and I was asking those questions, but I couldn't understand what Plato was talking about, Socrates. Now I can, but then I couldn't. I didn't have the patience. And so that's why I think your game is just absolutely wonderful. And particularly now, because people are so confused, they're so lost, they're so unsure. And here's a simple way. So I really hope that in this COVID time, that a lot of people will get connected to you. So we've got a couple of minutes left. Share with us again, your big mission with this game, a bit about your team, where you want to go, and how do people get a hold of you again?
Okay, awesome. Big mission of the game is to get people the support that they need. And that could be just simply playing the game and feeling better and feeling, making progress in your life. It could be all the way up to needing some real helpful counseling and someone to support you to improve your life, improve your sense of self, and develop a sense of purpose and direction in your life. The bigger mission is to create the world that we want to live in, a sustainable world where people are living their purpose, playing their role in this incredible journey. And so we can create a world where we are feeling connected with each other, where we're doing work that's meaningful for us, where we're healthy and vibrant, where we're finding love and building great relationships and families. This is the bigger purpose of this mission. It's focused. We're building it specifically. We're designing a game that young adults can relate to, because they're a very underserved, I would say misunderstood demographic, and we'll reach a demographic of people who aren't into personal development. Like I said, there's over 3 billion gamers on the planet, and self-help and self-discovery apps are increasing in popularity dramatically. But we'll reach people who have never touched a personal development book or app or program, and be able to help this whole group of people. If you're interested as an investor, or if you're interested as a player, check out facingdragons.com. super simple. You can message me. My name is Brody Whitney. I'm the CEO and founder of Facing Dragons. And my email's, again, very simple, brody@facingdragons.com. That's BRODIE. And yeah, we'll be looking for supporters. We're continuing to bring on celebrities to be members in the Hall of Heroes. So we're looking for celebrities who have an influence and who want to share their story and give quests to our players that relate to their journey. And yeah, just stay tuned and sign up, take the Life Wheel quest on the website. And yeah, get ready for an incredible journey ahead.
Awesome. Hey, Brody, thank you so much. What a brilliant man you are, human being, world changer, and it's absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much for today. And my name is Dr. Bart Rademaker, and this is Prescription for Your Transformation. Real people, real conversations, real success, tapping into your authentic genius and living the life by your design, using games to make that happen. So I'll be back next week. Thanks so much.
It's time for Dr. Rademaker's Prescription for Transformation. Let's tap into your own authentic genius and live the life you desire.
You are now listening to
Join Dr. Rademaker for an enlightened conversation